The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 765. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap-Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She's a dancer and choreographer, and I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us today on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Karen Chuang. Karen, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more by yourself to the listeners.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, thanks so much for that great introduction. My name is Karen, and I'm a dancer, choreographer based in Los Angeles. I've been in LA for 11 years, and I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Thanks for sharing that. And Karen, what's your cultural background?
Both of my parents were born and raised in Taiwan, and they immigrated to the U.S. in the 80s. My dad came here for a master's program at UC Santa Barbara studying software engineering. And at the time, he was still dating my mom, and they both eventually got married. Well, they got married to each other. They got married, and then my mom came over to the U.S. to join him. From then, my parents been in California always. My brother and I were both born and raised in the Bay Area.
Thanks for sharing that. And what'd be your favorite self-confidence quote?
My favorite self-confidence quote is, it's a little broad, but I always love knowing wherever you go, there you are. It's the idea that no matter what you do, no matter what you achieve or don't achieve or succeed in or don't succeed in, like where you are is where you're at. And there's something really beautiful in knowing that your journey has led you there. And even if it doesn't feel like the best moment, or even if it does, that's where you are. And so to me, that's very calming to know that, there's nothing that can change about that reality.
Thanks for sharing that great quote. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
Self-confidence to me is knowing who you are and believing in what you have to share to the world. And what you can share, it doesn't have to be a skill, or it doesn't have to be, a specific point of view. What you share is whatever you have to offer to the world. And it can be those things. It doesn't have to be. And to me, self-confidence can come from so many different things. It can come from your profession. It can come from, your personal life. It can come from a combination of those two things and beyond and more. And for me, it's knowing who you are and being ready to share that with the world around you.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. And Karen, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Oh man, that's such a good question. I think to me, there's always like a season in terms of like how a person can feel about where they are in their journey. And sort of as like a step around, to me, it's like I sometimes will feel very self-confident. Sometimes I don't feel very self-confident. So to me, it always feels like I'm arriving into feeling very good about, where I'm at. And then sometimes I'm feeling I'm questioning. So to me, it's very cyclical. So I think before I really understood the idea of self-confidence, I was constantly searching for approval, from things outside of myself. And I think that's also an important element of growing up is, understanding who your superiors are, understanding, what they have to teach you, and knowing that what they have to give you is also very important. But also at a certain point, when you get to be a bit older and you mature a bit, you also realize that you accumulate a lot of experiences, or I accumulated a lot of experiences growing up, and there's a lot of validity in those experiences as well. And realizing that those are very valid, and, my perspective is also just as important important as somebody who's my peer or somebody who's my superior, and not valuing as much or putting so much weight on other people's opinions as much as I value and give weight to what I think. But again, I think that, feeling really self-confident and then sometimes feeling not self-confident, to me, it's like a cyclical journey. There's like seasons for all those, for those to exist.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's something we all go through, that searching for approval, especially growing up in an Asian household. Like, we've been taught to live one way and, we feel trapped when we try to do something outside of it. And what was that point in your life when you realized you can go out there and be who you are today, especially, becoming a dancer and choreographer? What was that aha moment?
I'm really going to give credit to my parents. They've always been incredibly supportive of my journey. I think the one thing that they really honed in on for me as a kid was just to work hard and to try your best always. And that it didn't matter whether it was in dance, in school, in Chinese school, in piano, no matter what I did, they were just like, you just have to do your best and you have to do your job. And that's all that matters. And I studied actually business economics in college, not because they forced me to, or they wanted me to have something, stereotypically stable as a major or as a potential career. But I chose business economics because I myself wanted, a diverse experience in college. And I felt like I would get dancing just through being in Los Angeles. And I, for a very long time, through college, even up to my senior year, thought that I was going to graduate being a dancer, or graduate being a consultant or an accountant or something along the lines of my major. But after I graduated, I didn't take to consulting as much as I liked. I actually got very far in interviews with different consulting firms. But the lifestyle that they described just seemed very not up my alley. And so I took a job doing public relations for Versace in Beverly Hills and was working with them and then also simultaneously dancing and still auditioning, funnily enough. And I booked a tour that summer after I graduated college. And I had already been working with Versace, interning first for about a year. And then I was working for them part-time. And my boss, who such a wonderful woman, she was like, you need to this is a really amazing opportunity for you to go dance. And, it's going to be impossible for you to go and then come back and still have your job because we need to have somebody here and we can't hire a temp. And so she's like, it sounds like you should just quit your job here and take the dance position on going on tour. And so that was the first cutting of the cord of something that was very like a normal job. I think that initiated the aha moment. But for me, the aha moment, I feel like I've been constantly trying to rediscover that for myself. I feel like just even in the last couple of months, I've realized the delicate balance of what dance is to me from a professional standpoint and from a creative standpoint. And that to me has been the most significant aha moment, is just understanding that at this point for me, dance is how I make a living, but dance is also something I really enjoy and am passionate about. And just like anybody who has a normal day job and then has another secondary passion, it's important to know the things that fill both voids and to equally put energy into them, because even though it's all in the same field for me, my passion and my professional life, it's still like they're very different. The projects are very different. The community is very different in both. So that to me has been within these last couple months, years of finding stable work as a convention teacher. That's been my biggest discovery for myself.
Thanks for sharing that. And I'm glad you're able to share about having that balance, right? Because sometimes we start a project that we love or start something that we're passionate about and it turns into a full-time career, but sometimes we forget why we started it in the first place and we become obsessed, right? With the career part, and it's not as fun as it used to be. And we just have to take a step back and ask ourselves, why do we do this in the first place? Is it because of the money or is it because we love it? And I'm not saying, it's bad to make money over it, but I'm just you just have to realize once you kind of let go of that and start doing it because you love it, everything else will fall into place. And because of that, what's your life been like now?
To me, it's been it goes hand in hand with our conversation about self-confidence earlier, sort of like that letting go of external approval. For me, I've been able to really dive into movement and ideas that really speak to me on a more creative level. Commercial and industry dance is always going to be something that I have huge foundation in, because that's where predominantly my work experience has come from, dancing for artists, dancing on television. But what's been really special about being able to find stable work through, teaching is that I can expand my own vocabulary in movement, because I have the means financially to take different workshops. I don't feel pressured into taking only specific classes because it relates to my work. I can sort of expand my curriculum to things that might not necessarily pertain to commercial dance or the commercial dance industry, but definitely relate to my interests. And then I always believe that in turn filters back into, the work that I create, or how I move as a dancer, or when I'm on a commercial job, how I can understand what I'm given from a completely different perspective. And it's been really special for me to feel like very grounded, because as a freelance, any kind of freelance, whether or not you're a dancer or photographer or, anything freelance, it's really hard to know when you're going to be paid next. And that element of inconsistency can harbor like very slight anxiety, and you might not even know it. It's just kind of like, it's always hovering in the back of the mind. And for me, finding stability financially has really, really just changed the way I see dance in a very beautiful way.
Thanks for sharing that. And to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
I think self-confidence comes from when you discover something that ignites a fire in you and brings out a side of you that you didn't know existed. And I think that to that woman who's listening, keep following the things that you are passionate and curious about, because those are the things that will really feed you in a meaningful way. And it's not always going to be the things that are popular, and within dance, there's like popular dance styles and popular teachers and popular movement, but those might not be the things that somebody is curious and passionate about. And I think that is totally okay to deviate off of that regular course. And as long as it's something that person is genuinely interested in, hopefully they'll discover something new about themselves that brings about that sense of confidence.
Thanks for sharing those great tips. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do and check out some of your work, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, I am on the internet. Instagram, my handle is Karen, S as in Sam, and then my last name, Chuang, Chuang. I also have a website. It's KarenChuang.com. It's my name without my middle initial. And those two platforms are probably the best way to keep up to date with the things that I'm up to.
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Karen, you can also head on over to the TaoofSelfConfidence.com and search for Karen's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Karen today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. What a treat.
Not a problem. It was really great having you on the show today. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Want to learn how you can use podcasting to market your business? Download your free report by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.